Baseline rubs.
5 to go. Bohannon way outside. Launches the shot. Banks it home. Impossible. Big time onions.
By the Murray. Got to go
Oh,
down.
boy.
You knew it would come down.
It is onion season in America. This is a huge day, so I don't have a lot of time to screw around. We got to get into this. That is the buzzer beater. Iowa beat Indiana. Iowa goes on to win the Big Ten championship. This is interesting to see. Your daily sports podcast, et cetera, et cetera. We got so much shit to talk about. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I know what you want to talk about is the outdoor hockey game between Toronto and Buffalo, and Auston Matthews going to jail for what he did to Rasmus Dahlin. Whatever. We'll get into that in a minute. Tom Brady cuckolded all of us. It was a great sports weekend, and then he's like, "I'm coming back from retirement." So we need to look into the evidence here. This is Tom Brady. There he is. He's meeting Cristiano Ronaldo, and Cristiano's like, "This is what it's actually like to be a GOAT." Look, you can see him. There he is. If you're listening, Tom Brady went to England, and he went to a Manchester United match against Tottenham Hotspur. It's not really important who won that. We won't have to talk about it. Man United. They scored first, then Tottenham scored, then Man United scored, then Tottenham scored, then Man United scored. At some point in there, Man United scored on themselves. But Man United beats Tottenham. Tom Brady is there, and the reason that Tom Brady is there is not just to whatever. He's sort of being schmoozed by the Glazer family, who owns the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Manchester United. Manchester United, of course, is one of the most valuable assets on planet Earth. They're worth like $6 billion. It's insane. I actually think I'm lowballing them. I think they're probably worth more than that. And there's Cristiano Ronaldo, the most popular athlete in the history of the world. He's the most followed person on Twitter and Instagram. Like he's essentially the most universally liked person, maybe other than the Pope. But even so, Tom Brady's meeting him there, and people are trying to read his lips. And if you look at it, it says, "Are you finished?" Which means, "Are you finished hanging out here?" And Tom Brady's like, "Yeah, we'll go." So the kids meet him, whatever. Hours after that, Tom Brady posts the following on Instagram, quote, "These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates and I love my supportive family. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa. Unfinished business, LFG," which stands for let's fucking go. This is really annoying. There are two ways to look at this. Way number one is that he used retirement as leverage so that he could get traded to San Francisco, where he wants to finish his career, which is where he's from. And way number two is that he's actually a football addict, and he's not good at being a father and a family man or a husband, and that this is actually going to get sad. And I think my gut tells me that the second one, this is going to get sad. So we'll see how it goes. Tampa Bay was plus 2,200, 200 to 1 to win the Super Bowl. They're now the third or fourth favorite, which is hilarious. Just hours prior, this is from Pro Football Talk, Bruce Arians was looking at Baker Mayfield as a possible solution. Tampa was theoretically in on the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. Deshaun Watson, it reports, wants to meet with teams prior to making his decision. We know that for sure. The Saints and the Panthers are in. Other teams are rumored, though not reported. Other free agency news had some big receiver movement. Amari Cooper from the Dallas Cowboys gets traded to the Cleveland Browns for like a bag of chips, which is funny. Michael Gallup, the Cowboys wide receiver, is now the star wide receiver. 5 years, $62 million, according to his agent, who texted that to Adam Schefter. What an enormous, enormous week it was in football. Trade after trade, and Russell Wilson and Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack and Tom Brady's coming out of retirement. The legal tampering period, okay, if you don't know what that is, I'll explain it to you. The league year in football starts about a month after the NFL scouting combine. Well, it's brand new. It's sort of like a fiscal year. It's a fiscal quarter. So the league year starts in March at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a random Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or whatever they decide that year. So when the league year starts, that's when contracts for free agents are up or players enter year two. It's not at the end of the season. It's at the end of the league year. That's where there are no trades immediately following the Super Bowl. And anytime there's a trade, that's not really a trade. They agree to trade, and they announce the trade, and then it just processes on the new league year. You're not allowed to recruit free agents in February because the year is not over. If you do that, it's called tampering. I'm going to let you in on a secret. They all do it. Every single one of them do it. That's why the scouting combine being in Indianapolis is such a great thing, and I think not having it in Indianapolis will fundamentally change the NFL because free agent contracts are negotiated at the combine. Hush, hush. because they can meet in person and there's no paper trail. Can't get caught for tampering. So then the league was like, well, they're obviously tampering. You'll notice when free agency starts on Thursdays usually, like 30 seconds in, there are like 50 contract announcements. Like, how did they negotiate? The free agency window just opened. Well, they've been tampering for months. So then the NFL is like, oh, well, we'll just start a legal tampering period when it's fine, when we don't really care that much. And so now they give them the legal tampering period on Monday, and then free agency starts on like Thursday or whatever. I don't even know. Which means that theoretically deals could start being announced today, or interest could be announced, and then they can sign. They can put pen to paper on Thursday. All of free agency deals are usually pending a physical, and there have been times people have failed the physical. But the tampering period opens today. A lot of things expected to happen. Allen Robinson, Von Miller are the most interesting ones to watch for me. As far as the NFL is concerned, that's where we're at right now with news. I think there's a lot of other news in the NFL. One more thing, because there's so much other shit going on. Joe Buck has been kind of traded to ESPN. He signed an enormous deal with ESPN. He got out of his contract at Fox, and ESPN paid for it. And I think, and this is no shit, there were reports from the New York Daily Post, and maybe I can get into, like, when we're bored in the summer, we can start getting into, like, broadcasters and stuff. But it appears like the rights to a college football game were traded for the rights to negotiate with Joe Buck. I think it looks like ESPN traded the first college football game of the year next year that's going to be big, which is Notre Dame at Ohio State. It traded Notre Dame at Ohio State for the rights to negotiate to Joe Buck. I think. I'm dead serious. I really think that's what happened. Joe Buck will be reunited on Monday Night Football with Troy Aikman, which is going to save Monday Night Football. Hopefully we shall see. Okay, it's time to move on to other sports. Let's watch this cool video here from the Detroit Red Wings. This is for Jordan Staal. Is it Jordan Staal? I literally don't even know anymore. Mr. Staal. We'll call it Mr. Staal. That's his entrance for his 1,000th game. For those of you that don't know, playing your 1,000th game in the NHL is one of the bigger accomplishments that you can have. It's a huge, huge deal. People make a very big deal out of it. And you got this picture here from Bleacher Report. All three Staal brothers, Eric, Mark, and Jordan, have played 1,000 games. And you'll notice in this picture, two of them have letters on their jerseys, which means they're captains. And, of course, Eric, Mark, and Jordan have all been captains and assistant captains of teams. They are brilliant. Their old man should be in the Hall of Fame. That's crazy. They have been pillars of the National Hockey League for a long time. It's not just like my brothers are in the NHL. There are plenty of brothers with one brother screwing around and one brother kind of playing every day. And it's not a huge popular sport in North America outside of like the North and in Canada. So it's just not. It's not unheard of that brothers will be there, but three brothers from small town in Canada to be that good, that is kind of strange, man. That is kind of strange. So we're going to talk about what happened in the NHL, and we'll try to get to some NBA news, and then we'll wrap up with some college basketball. Outdoor game in Toronto, throwback jerseys, Buffalo versus Toronto. Rasmus Dahlin and Auston Matthews got into it. So I'm going to play the video. I'm going to mute it because I guess we can see what the sound is like. So here's Auston Matthews, and he gets into it with Dahlin, who's a defenseman. And watch, Matthews just cross-checks him. So right there, it escalates, and right in the throat. Just cross-checks him right in the throat. Watch this. It's bad, man. So, boom, there it is. It's just, I'm going to mute this now so we can watch it. If you watch their alternate angles that are just... They're rough, man. Watch this alternate angle. Watch him jump into it. Yeah. So he got his wires crossed. Auston Matthews is 48 goals in the season. We don't know what the suspension is going to be. It's going to be big. He's not a repeat offender like Brad Marchand or other NHL guys. I think it's going to be like 6 would be not unheard of. I'll bet I get 2. My guess is 2, but that is a huge deal. And fights are in the air in hockey. You want to see a youth hockey player go into the stands to fight a dad? Let's do it. I have not listened to this, so let's find out how it goes. Okay, so there's the stands. The guy comes off the bench, up the stands, and there's a guy yelling at him. And this player is in his skates. His helmet and gloves are off. So here we go. They're yelling at each other. And he just, like, runs at this dad, and he takes a swing at the dad. And then a coach gets in the way, and then these two parents are, like, fighting, and there's, like, a coach.
I got this guy. Logan.
think these guys are just trying to hold this guy down because that player assaulted a grown man, and that's bad. And I actually don't know any more details on this. I could have looked, but there were so many things happening in sports. Get off my ass. Cool moment from the Red Wings Flames game. A referee who refereed 1,008 games retired. And you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, all of the Flames and Red Wings got in line together and shook this guy's hand for his last game in the NHL. 1,000 games. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of time on the ice, buddy. That is a long time on the ice. We'll talk about Naomi Osaka and her. She broke down over the weekend and she cried on the court for being heckled. Which it's one of those things, like, if that happened in say basketball or football, you'd say tough it up. But there's like decorum rules and expectations in tennis. So we'll talk about that later. That sounds like a good controversial Wednesday topic. LeBron James against Phoenix collected his 10,000th assist. 10,000th assist. 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, 10,000 assists. First player ever to have those. LeBron is the only player to surpass 10,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists. He becomes the 7th player in NBA history to reach 10,000 assists. Unbelievable. Congratulations, LeBron. Hey, Nick, how'd the game go? Hey, the Suns embarrassed the Lakers. The Lakers are now 9 games below 500, and the Suns are perhaps the best team in the association this year. It's March Madness season, baby. Let's go through the bracket. I don't know. Let's see. Is this going to work? Do you want to go do a show bracket together? We can go through that. Okay. So, number 1 seeds. I'm not going to go through the whole bracket. Number 1 seeds are Gonzaga, Baylor, Kansas, and Arizona. Duke lost their ACC tournament, which is hilarious, to Virginia Tech. So they are now a 2 seed. And we have this really cool situation in Duke's bracket where if they win and Michigan State wins, it's entirely possible that we could get Duke, Michigan State, which would be fun for everybody. Playing games coming up. The first 4, they start tomorrow at 9:10 p.m. or 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Texas Southern and AMCC, which I'm not sure what that is. And then the big one, I think, is Wyoming and Indiana tomorrow. I have Wyoming and Indiana going to the Final Four in one of my 2 brackets. The other big playing game are Rutgers and Notre Dame. So Wyoming, Indiana, Rutgers, and Notre Dame are 4 teams that could piss people off. And there have been twice a play-in team has made the Final Four, VCU and UCLA the year before. Or was that last year? Or was that the COVID year? I don't remember. We're going to go through our bracket. We're going to do all of that stuff. The real story over the weekend that I thought from college basketball. We'll get into our bracket. Those are the 4 number 1 seeds. We'll get into storylines. And got plenty of time to do that. We'll preview Wyoming, Indiana, and Texo and EMC, the other game in the first 4 tomorrow. The big story is Iowa the best sports school in the Big Ten? So Iowa beat Purdue, who's just the chokiest choke artist of all time. Iowa beat Purdue to win the Big Ten championship. The Iowa women's team, I think, beat Michigan to win the Big Ten championship. Iowa football, who did they beat? Indiana. So they went through. I mean, Iowa's now a top 10 team, and they have the female version of Jimmer Fredette or Steph Curry. I forget her name, but we'll be talking about her as this comes up. And then I think I'm just going to Google it. Iowa wrestling. Did they win? I'm not sure, but I know that they're always one of the best in the Big Ten. They're the best sports school in the Big Ten. Who'd have thunk? Who would have thunk? If you enjoy watching Coach K lose, watching him get boat raced by Virginia Tech was honestly one of the most enjoyable things of the weekend. March Madness technically starts tomorrow. Legal tampering period starts today. Lots of news coming up. Naomi Osaka story. We're going to keep following that as it comes up. Look at that. There's Virginia Tech. winning the ACC. We'll be back in better than ever tomorrow morning. Like, rate, review, subscribe.